March 1944. 25,000 feet over Germany. Sergeant Mike O'Hara sits in the tail gun position of a B-17 called Lucky Lady and watches 7 German fighters position themselves for attack. The P-51 escorts have turned back, fuel exhausted. The bomber formation is alone, exposed, and the Germans know it. In the next 30 minutes, O'Hara will fire over 1,200 rounds. Take hits that should kill him, and prove that sometimes the loneliest position on an aircraft is also the most critical. Because when fighters come from behind, the tail gunner is all that stands between them and 9 men who can't shoot back. The mission briefing had been routine, too routine. Target, ball bearing factory outside Schweinfurt. Deep penetration, maximum effort, every available bomber. The usual promises: good weather, strong escort, high probability of success. O'Hara had learned to read between the lines. Deep penetration meant hours over enemy territory. Maximum effort meant losses expected. Strong escort meant until the fighters ran out of fuel and turned back. He'd sat in the back of the briefing room with the other gunners, listening to the navigators and bombardiers get their instructions. The pilots asked questions about flak concentrations. The radio operators copied down frequency lists. O'Hara just thought about his guns. Twin 50 caliber Brownings, 500 rounds per gun, rate of fire 800 rounds per minute, effective range 600 yards. He knew these numbers the way a priest knows prayers. After briefing, his younger brother Danny had found him. Private Danny O'Hara, 19 years old, waist gunner on the same crew. Their mother had written letters begging them not to fly together. Too much risk. Lose one? Fine. Lose both? Unbearable. The Army didn't care about mother's fears. Crew assignments were crew assignments. "You nervous?" Danny had asked. His first mission to Schweinfurt. Mike's third. "Always." Mike had gripped his brother's shoulder. "You remember what I taught you? Lead the target. Short bursts. Don't freeze up. And stay on oxygen. Watch for frostbite. If we get hit bad, bailout altitude is 10,000 feet minimum." Mike had nodded. His kid brother still looked 16. Joined up the day after his 18th birthday because Mike had joined. Followed him into the meat grinder because that's what brothers did. "You stay sharp today. This is a bad one. I can feel it." "You always say that." "I'm always right." They'd walked to Lucky Lady together, their B-17, 23 missions completed. Not lucky for everyone. They'd lost 2 gunners over the past 4 months. But lucky enough, still flying, still bringing most of her crew home. Mike had climbed through the fuselage to the tail section. His position, the loneliest spot on the aircraft. A plexiglass bubble at the very end, barely big enough for a man to kneel. 2 guns pointing backward. Nothing between you and the enemy except 600 yards of empty air. He'd checked his guns, loaded them, test-fired short bursts. The 50s roared. Spent casings rattled around his feet. Everything worked. Good. The tail position had no armor, no protection. If something came through that plexiglass, it went through you. German fighters knew this. They loved tail gunners. Easy kills. But tail gunners also had the best view. Could see threats no one else saw. Could engage fighters that other gunners couldn't reach. Were the last line of defense when the enemy attacked from 6 o'clock. Mike had 47 missions. In the tail. Every one. He'd seen things that woke him up at night. Friends torn apart. Aircraft exploding, men burning. The view from the tail was comprehensive and terrible. At 0830, Lucky Lady lifted off, joined the formation, 300 bombers climbing into cold March sky, heading east, toward Germany, toward flak and fighters, and everything that wanted to kill them. The climb to altitude took an hour. At 25,000 feet, the temperature outside was minus 40 Fahrenheit. Mike's electrically heated suit kept him from freezing. Barely. His oxygen mask fed him air. Without it, he'd pass out in seconds. The formation tightened up. Combat box. Each bomber positioned to provide overlapping fields of fire. If fighters attacked, they'd face 250 caliber machine guns. No sane pilot would fly through that. German pilots were sane. They'd learned tactics, learned to attack from angles the bombers couldn't defend. Head-on passes, diving attacks, and the favorite, tail attacks from slightly below where the ball turret couldn't reach. The P-51 escorts appeared at the German border, little fighters dancing around the lumbering bombers. Beautiful aircraft, fast, agile. They kept the German fighters away for a while. At 11:30, 2 hours into enemy territory, the P-51s began to peel away, fuel exhausted. Time to go home. They waggled wings, good luck, and dove away. The bomber formation was alone. Mike keyed his intercom. "Pilot, tail, escorts, gone. We're naked." Captain Morrison's voice came back, calm, steady. "Copy, tail. All gunners, stay sharp. They'll be coming." Mike scanned the sky behind them. Empty, blue, beautiful, deceptive. Then he saw them, tiny dots, high and distant, growing larger. "Pilot, tail, fighters, 6 o'clock high, multiple bandits, looks like 7, maybe more." "Roger, all guns, prepare to engage. Don't fire until they're in range." Mike watched the fighters approach. They were taking their time, positioning. These weren't rookies. These were professionals who'd done this before. The lead fighter dove, committed to attack. The others followed. They were coming straight at Lucky Lady's tail, coming straight at Mike. He settled behind his guns, tracked the lead fighter, calculated deflection. The fighter grew in his sight. 800 yards, 700, 600, tail engaging. Mike pressed the triggers. The 50s roared. Tracers reached out. The fighter jinked, pulled left hard. Mike's burst passed behind him. Missed. The fighter fired back. 20mm cannon shells. Slower than bullets, but devastating if they hit. Mike saw muzzle flashes, saw shells coming, pressed himself small. The shells missed, barely. One punch through the tail section 2 feet from his head, left a jagged hole. Wind screamed through. Mike ignored it, tracked the fighter, fired again. Short burst, 3 seconds. This time he led the target correctly. His tracers walked into the fighter's engine. Smoke belched. The FW-19T rolled inverted and fell away. Tail to crew, splash 1. No time to celebrate. The other 6 were still coming. They attacked in pairs, one high, one low, scissoring, making it impossible to track both. Mike chose the low one. Fired, missed, tracked, fired again, hit the wing. The fighter broke off. The high one came through, guns blazing. Shells and bullets tore into Lucky Lady's tail. Mike felt impacts, heard metal scream, felt the aircraft shudder. A round hit his left gun. The 50 exploded. Fragments tore across his position. Something hit his left arm. Hot, painful. Mike looked down. His sleeve was shredded, blood seeping through. He couldn't feel his hand. "Tail to pilot. I'm hit. Left gun destroyed. Still have right gun operational." Morrison's voice, tight, controlled. "Can you continue?" Mike looked at his arm, then at the fighters regrouping for another pass. Then at the bomber formation, at the other aircraft around him, at his brother somewhere in the waist section. "Affirmative. I can continue." He shifted position, operated the right gun with his good hand, loaded with his teeth when the belt jammed. The pain in his arm was background noise. The fighters came again, and again, and again. Mike fired until his ammunition was half gone, then quarter gone, then running on the last belt. He'd hit 3 fighters, damaged 2 others, but they kept coming, kept attacking, and he was running out of bullets. At 11:45, 15 minutes into the attack, a FW-190 made a perfect approach, low 6 o'clock, right in Mike's blind spot where his destroyed left gun should have covered. Mike twisted, tried to bring the right gun to bear, couldn't get the angle. The fighter fired, long burst. Shells walked up Lucky Lady's fuselage, toward the tail, toward Mike. He pressed himself flat. Rounds punched through plexiglass, through metal. One grazed his helmet, knocked him sideways. His vision went gray, ears ringing. When his vision cleared, the fighter was gone. But his position was shredded. Holes everywhere, wind howling through, blood on the plexiglass. His blood. He checked himself. Head wound, bleeding but not fatal. Arm still useless. Ribs felt wrong, probably broken. His right gun was still functional. He got back behind it. The fighters kept coming. Mike kept shooting. By 11:55, his last ammunition belt was feeding, maybe 100 rounds left. A Messerschmitt 109 positioned for attack. Perfect angle, patient, professional. Mike tracked him, waited. This had to count. No ammunition for mistakes. The fighter came in, 600 yards, 500, 400. Mike fired, 5-second burst, all remaining ammunition. The tracers found the Messerschmitt's cockpit. The canopy shattered. The fighter rolled and dove, uncontrolled. Mike's guns fell silent, empty. He keyed the intercom. "Tail to pilot. I'm Winchester. No ammunition. Guns cold." Morrison. "Roger. Tail, can you see them?" Mike looked behind. The remaining fighters were regrouping. 4 left, and they just realized the tail gunner wasn't shooting anymore. Pilot, tail, 4 bandits still engaged. They're setting up for another pass, and they know I'm out. Copy. All other gunners, concentrate fire aft. Cover the tail. Mike watched the fighters' position. They were taking their time now. No rush. The tail gun was silent. They could attack with impunity. He looked at his destroyed position, at his empty guns, at the blood on his hands. He thought about Danny in the waist, about Morrison and the crew, about the bomber formation depending on every gun. His guns were empty, but he wasn't done yet. Part 2 of 3. Memory Refresh. O'Hara, Tail Gunner Yaralı, Kolbaş Kaburgalar, Mühimmat Bitti. Location, Umidi 5,000 feet over Germany, 4 German fighter hala saldırıyor. Crew, 10 kişi, Danny, kardeşi, waist gunner, in Koven. Lucky Lady, hasar almış ama uçuyor. Time, Hollandosha 55 hours, 5 dakika, intense combat geçti. Empty guns, 4 enemy fighters, and Mike O'Hara refusing to accept that his part in the fight was over. He keyed the intercom. Pilot, tail, I can still spot. I can direct other gunners. Keep me on the circuit. Morrison didn't hesitate. Copy, tail. All gunners, tail will call targets. When he says fire, you fire. O'Hara watched the 4 German fighters regroup. They were discussing something, probably debating whether the tail gun was really empty or if it was a trap. He decided to answer that question for them. He gripped the dead gun's handles, traversed the barrel, not firing, couldn't fire, but moving it, tracking the fighters, making it look live. The Germans saw the movement, hesitated. Tail to crew. 4 bandits at 6 o'clock spreading out. 2 breaking left, 2 breaking right. They're going to bracket us. Waist gunners, watch your sectors. Danny's voice came back, young, scared, alive. Right waist, Roger, I see them. The left waist gunner. Left waist, tracking. The fighters split. 2 went high and left, 2 went low and right. Classic pincer. They'd attack simultaneously from different angles, divide the defensive fire. O'Hara watched both pairs, calculated their approach vectors, decided which was the bigger threat. Right waist, ball turret, 2 fighters coming in low right, 4 o'clock. Ball turret, you'll have first shot. Danny, you take them after they pass under. Martinez in the ball turret tracking, I see them. The fighters came in. Martinez's twin 50s opened up, long burst, tracers reached out. The lead. German fighter jinked hard, broke his attack. The second one pressed through. Right waist, fire! Fire now! Danny's gun roared. O'Hara saw tracers from the waist position streak toward the fighter, saw hits, saw pieces fly off the German's wing. The fighter rolled away, trailing smoke. Good hit, Danny! He's damaged! But the other pair was coming from the left. The left waist gunner was already firing. Top turret joined in, a crossfire. The Germans flew straight through it. Brave or desperate, O'Hara couldn't tell. One fighter took hits, lots of them. His engine exploded. The aircraft nosed over and fell away. Tail to crew, splash 1. 3 bandits remaining. The remaining 3 fighters regrouped. They'd lost 4 now. 4 out of 7. The cost of attacking this formation was getting too high. But they didn't leave. They repositioned, prepared for another attack. O'Hara understood. These were professionals. They'd started this fight. They'd finish it or die trying. Hail to pilot. 3 bandits still engaged. They're not quitting. Morrison. Neither are we. All crew status check. The reports came in. Number 3 engine damaged but running. Hydraulics failing. Oxygen system compromised in the waist section. Multiple holes throughout the aircraft. But everyone was alive. Everyone was still fighting. O'Hara looked at his shredded position. At the holes in the plexiglass. At the blood. His blood. Frozen on the metal. At his useless left arm. At the empty ammunition boxes. He'd fired over 1,200 rounds in 15 minutes. His guns were destroyed or empty. He was wounded. By every measure, he was out of the fight, but he could still see, could still think, could still coordinate. Tail to crew, 3 bandits repositioning. Looks like they're going for a head-on pass this time. Top turret, nose guns, get ready. They'll come high. The top turret gunner. Top turret ready. The bombardier and navigator manned the nose guns, both called ready. O'Hara. Watch the fighters climb, position themselves. They were going to dive from 12 o'clock high, come straight down, Lucky Lady's throat, hit the cockpit, kill the pilots. Classic tactic. Tail to crew. They're starting their run, 12 o'clock high. All forward guns, stand by, fire! The nose erupted with gunfire. Top turrets spun and fired, 650 calibers concentrating forward, a wall of lead. The German fighters dove into it, committed, no turning back. O'Hara watched from the tail, useless now, too far away, unable to contribute, just watching. The lead German fighter took hits, lots of them. His canopy shattered. The aircraft rolled and fell away. Splash one! 2 bandits remaining! The other 2 came through, firing. Cannon shells and machine gun bullets tearing into Lucky Lady's nose. The plexiglass blew out. One of the nose gunners screamed. Morrison's voice, strained. Number 3 engine hit. Shutting down. Feathering prop. 3 engines now. The B-17 could fly on 3, could even fly on 2. But it was harder, slower, more vulnerable. The 2 remaining German fighters pulled up from their pass and repositioned. They knew they'd hurt Lucky Lady. Knew she was wounded. Knew this was their chance. O'Hara keyed the intercom. Tail to pilot. 2 bandits remaining. They're going to hit us again, soon. Morrison. Copy. All crew brace for... Static. The intercom went dead. O'Hara's stomach dropped. Radio out. Communications severed. He was isolated in the tail. Couldn't coordinate. Couldn't help. He watched the 2 fighters position for another attack. From 6 o'clock again, coming straight at him, at his empty guns, at his destroyed position. This time, they'd press the attack. This time, they'd finish Lucky Lady. O'Hara gripped his dead gun, traversed it, aimed at the approaching fighters, made it look operational, made it look dangerous, but the Germans weren't fooled anymore. They'd seen him fire his last burst, seen the guns go, cold. They knew. They came in fast, aggressive, guns blazing. O'Hara ducked. Shells and bullets tore through his position. Plexiglass shattered, metal shredded. Something hit his leg. Pain, more blood. He couldn't see, couldn't move, could only wait for the killing shot. It didn't come. The fighters pulled up and away, not because they wanted to, because other bombers in the formation had opened fire, supporting fire, protecting Lucky Lady. O'Hara looked out, saw other B-17s closing formation, tightening up, overlapping fields of fire, protecting the wounded bomber. That's what formations did, protected each other. No bomber alone, ever. The 2 German fighters made one more pass, half-hearted, testing. When they met concentrated fire from multiple bombers, they broke off, headed east, back toward Germany, out of ammunition or out of courage. Either way, gone. The sky around Lucky Lady was empty, clear. The attack was over. O'Hara slumped against the tail gun, breathing hard, alive. Somehow alive. He checked himself. Leg wound, not too bad. Arm still useless, head still bleeding, ribs screaming. But alive. He tried the intercom. Still dead. He was isolated, couldn't communicate with the crew, didn't know who else was wounded, didn't know if Danny was okay. He crawled forward through the fuselage. Difficult, painful. His wounded leg dragged, his broken ribs made breathing agony. But he moved. He reached the waist section, found chaos. The oxygen system had been hit. Hoses severed. The waist gunners were on walk-around bottles. Portable oxygen, limited supply. Danny was there, slumped against the fuselage, blood on his flight suit. Too much blood. O'Hara crawled to him. Danny, look at me! His brother's eyes opened, glazed, shocked. Mike? I'm here. Where you hit? Danny gestured weakly to his side. O'Hara pulled the flight suit open, saw the wound, shell fragment, deep, bad. How bad? Danny asked. O'Hara lied. You'll be fine. Just hold on. We're going. Home. Did we get them? Yeah, kid, we got them. You hit 2. I saw it. Good shooting. Danny smiled weakly. Learned from the best. O'Hara pressed bandages against the wound, applied pressure. Danny needed a hospital. Surgery. Soon. But they were still over Germany. Still hours from England. The left waist gunner, Thompson, was helping other wounded. 3 men down in the waist. Danny was the worst. How long to England? O'Hara shouted over the wind roaring through the damaged aircraft. Thompson checked his watch. 2 hours, maybe more. We're slower on 3 engines. 2 hours. Danny might not have 2 hours. Martinez crawled up from the ball turret, saw Danny. His face went pale. Jesus, is he... He's alive. Help me keep him that way. Martinez nodded. Combat medic training. Limited, but something. He took over treating Danny. O'Hara watched, helpless. The bomber formation continued west, toward safety, toward home. Lucky Lady struggled along. 3 engines. Damaged hydraulics, holes everywhere, but still flying, still in formation. At 12:30, they reached the target, Schweinfurt. The formation opened bomb bay doors. The bombardiers lined up their sights. Flak began. Heavy, accurate, black bursts filling the ski. Lucky Lady shuddered as shells burst close. O'Hara crouched over Danny, covered him with his body. If flak hit, it would hit O'Hara first. The bombs fell. The formation turned west. The bomb run was over. Now, they just had to get home. The flak followed them, burst after burst. One shell detonated close to Lucky Lady's tail. Shrapnel tore through the already damaged section. More holes, more wind, more cold. But Lucky Lady flew on, stubborn, tough, refusing to die. At 1300, they crossed out of heavy flak zones. The danger eased slightly. Just the long flight home now. Hours of watching Danny bleed. Hours of hoping they'd make it. O'Hara held his brother's hand, squeezed it. Danny squeezed back, weak but present. Stay with me. Stay?
Kid, don't you quit on me. Won't quit. You taught me not to quit. Damn right I did.
The formation crossed back into France, then over the Channel. England appeared on the horizon, beautiful, safe, home. Lucky Lady's landing gear came down, one main gear stuck, manual hand crank. O'Hara cranked it himself, one-handed, pain screaming through broken ribs, but the gear extended. They approached the runway. Morrison fighting the controls, 3 engines, damaged hydraulics, wounded aircraft trying to land. The wheels touched, rough, hard, but down. They rolled to a stop, alive, home. Ambulances raced toward them. Medics swarmed aboard, found Danny, found others, carried them out. O'Hara tried to follow, collapsed, exhaustion, blood loss, pain finally overwhelming adrenaline. He woke up in the base hospital, clean sheets, white ceiling, quiet. A nurse saw him stir. "Welcome back, Sergeant. You've been out for 6 hours. "My brother, Danny O'Hara, waist gunner, where is he?" The nurse hesitated. "He's in surgery. It's been difficult, but he's alive, fighting. I need to see him. You need to rest. You lost a lot of blood, multiple wounds, broken ribs, mild hypothermia." O'Hara tried to sit up. Pain exploded. The nurse pushed him back down, gently but firmly. "Your brother is getting the best care possible. Right now you need to heal. Doctor's orders." O'Hara lay back, stared at the ceiling. Danny was alive, still fighting. That was enough, had to be enough. Hours later, a doctor found him. "Sergeant O'Hara, your brother's out of surgery. It was touch and go, but he made it. He's stable." O'Hara felt something break inside him, relief, overwhelming. "Can I see him?" "Tomorrow, when you're both stronger. For now, rest. You both need it." That night, O'Hara lay awake, thinking about the mission, about 30 minutes of hell at 25,000 feet, about firing 1,200 rounds until his guns went empty, about watching fighters come at his brother and being unable to stop them, about the impossible mathematics of survival. 10 men on a crew, 7 German fighters attacking, hours over enemy territory, all the ways they should have died. But they hadn't. They'd fought. They'd survived. They'd come home, not because of luck, because of skill and determination and refusing to quit even when wounded and out of ammunition. O'Hara closed his eyes, let exhaustion take him. Tomorrow he'd see Danny. Tomorrow he'd know his brother would be okay. Tonight he'd sleep knowing they'd both survived. That was enough. Danny was in a hospital bed 3 rooms down, pale, thin, bandaged, but breathing, alive. "Hey, kid." Danny's eyes opened, focused, a weak smile. "Mike, you look like hell." "You should see the other guy." O'Hara pulled a chair close, sat carefully. His ribs screamed. "How you feeling?" "Like I got shot." "Which I did." Danny coughed, winced. "Doc says, I'll make it. Couple months, recovery, then you're going home. You're done." Danny started to protest. O'Hara cut him off. "You're done, Danny. You flew your missions. You got shot. You survived. That's enough. You're going home." "What about you?" O'Hara looked at his bandaged arm, his leg, his ribs. "I've got a few more missions. Then I'm done too." "How many more?" 7. To finish my tour. 25 total. Danny gripped his hand. Surprisingly strong. Don't be a hero. Just Come home. I'm not a hero. I'm a tail gunner. There's a difference. Danny smiled. Bullshit. They sat in silence. Brothers, survivors, two kids from Brooklyn who'd gone to war and somehow lived through it. O'Hara stayed until Danny fell asleep, then returned to his own bed, exhausted. The squadron commander visited the next day. Major Collins, good officer, understood the cost of every mission. Sergeant O'Hara, how you feeling? Better, sir. Ready to fly. Collins shook his head. Medical says 2 weeks minimum. Your arm needs healing. Your ribs need time. You're grounded. Sir, my crew will fly with a replacement tail gunner. You'll rejoin when the dock clears you. That's an order. O'Hara wanted to argue. Couldn't. Orders were orders. Yes, sir. Collins pulled a chair close. I read the after-action reports. You fired over 1,200 rounds, hit 5 fighters, coordinated defensive fire after your guns went empty, kept fighting despite multiple wounds. I did my job, sir. You did more than your job. I'm putting you in for a Silver Star. Your crew's putting you in for more than that. They say you saved their lives. O'Hara thought about Danny bleeding in the waist, about Morrison fighting controls with a damaged aircraft, about Martinez in the ball turret and the others. They saved themselves, sir. I just shot at whatever came close. Collins smiled. That's exactly what tail gunners are supposed to do, and you did it better than most. Rest, heal. We'll see you back in 2 weeks. O'Hara spent those 2 weeks in the hospital, healing, thinking, watching the mission board. Every day, bombers went out. Every day, some didn't come back. Lucky Lady was grounded too damaged to fly. The ground crew stripped her for parts. She'd completed her last mission, 24 missions, good run. Most bombers didn't make it that far. O'Hara's crew was reassigned to a different B-17, Memphis Belle II. Not the original Memphis Belle, that famous aircraft had completed its tour and gone home, just a bomber that carried the name forward. They flew 3 missions without O'Hara, came back each time, 2 wounded on the second mission, none on the third. Lucky. Danny was transferred to a hospital in England, then shipped home to Brooklyn, medical discharge, war over for him. O'Hara received a letter a week later, Danny's handwriting, shaky but legible. Mike made it home. Ma cried for an hour. Dad keeps asking about the plane. I told them you're still over there. Ma wants you home. So do I. Finish your missions. Don't do anything stupid. Come home. Your brother, Danny O'Hara, kept the letter in his flight jacket pocket. Read it before every mission. 2 weeks after the Schweinfurt mission, the doctor cleared O'Hara for flight duty. His arm had healed enough. Ribs still hurt but functional. He was ready. His crew welcomed him back. Martinez gripped his hand. Didn't let go. Thought we lost you, man. Not that easy. I'm Brooklyn Irish. We don't die easy. Morrison, the pilot, clapped his shoulder. Good to have you back, Mike. The replacement gunner was okay, but he wasn't you. They flew Mission 22 that week. Berlin, heavy flak, no fighters. The Luftwaffe was conserving fuel, conserving aircraft. The war was turning. Everyone could feel it. Mission 23, Frankfurt, moderate resistance. O'Hara shot down 1 fighter, damaged another. His guns felt good, reliable, deadly. Mission 24, Munich, heavy fighter opposition. O'Hara expended all ammunition. 6 fighters engaged. 2 kills. 3 damaged. His position took hits. He took a fragment in his shoulder. Minor. Didn't report it. Just bandaged it himself. Mission 25. The last one. If they survived this, the tour was complete. They could go home. The target was Dresden. O'Hara had heard rumors about Dresden. Beautiful city, cultural center, but also a rail hub, troop concentration point, legitimate military target. The briefing was somber. Everyone knew what 25 meant. Last mission. Statistical odds said 1 in 4 crews didn't complete their tours. O'Hara's crew had beaten the odds. Now they just needed to survive 1 more. They took off at dawn. Memphis Belle II, heavy with bombs and fuel. The formation climbed, headed east, into Germany one last time. O'Hara settled into his tail position, checked his guns, loaded, test-fired. Everything worked. Last mission, he'd make it count. The mission was routine until the bomb run. Then German fighters appeared, maybe 20 of them, desperate, low on fuel, but determined. They attacked from all angles. O'Hara tracked targets, fired, conserved ammunition, made every burst count. A FW-190 came at him from 6 o'clock low, perfect angle, patient, professional. O'Hara tracked him, waited, let him commit, then fired, 3-second burst. The tracers walked into the fighter's cockpit. The aircraft rolled and fell away. O'Hara's last kill, number 12, even dozen. The fighters broke off, the bombing run completed, the formation turned west, toward home. Toward the end of the tour, they crossed into friendly airspace at 1500 hours. England appeared, beautiful, green, safe. Memphis Belle II landed at 1545, smooth, easy. The crew climbed out, quiet, relieved, alive. They'd made it. 25 missions, tour complete. The squadron threw a party that night, not elaborate, just drinks and music and the profound relief of survival. O'Hara drank beer with his crew, laughed, let himself relax for the first time in months. Morrison raised his glass. To the best damn tail gunner in the 8th Air Force, Mike O'Hara, who kept our asses alive through 25 missions. The crew cheered, drank. O'Hara felt embarrassed. I just did my job. Your job was staying alive, Martinez said. You did more than that. You kept us alive too. The Silver Star came through a week later, presented at a ceremony O'Hara didn't want to attend. He stood at attention while a general pinned the medal to his chest, said things about valor and dedication and service above and beyond. O'Hara accepted because refusing would be disrespectful, but he didn't feel heroic. He felt like a man who'd survived something he shouldn't have, who'd watched friends die, who'd fired thousands of rounds at human beings and watched them fall. He went home in June 1944, took a train to Brooklyn, walked down familiar streets that looked strange after months of war, found his parents' house, knocked. His mother opened the door, saw him, screamed, grabbed him, held him, cried. His father stood behind her, tears in his eyes. Welcome home, son. Danny was there too, walking with a cane, still recovering, but alive, grinning. Told you to come home, didn't I? They hugged, brothers, survivors, against all odds. That night, the family gathered. Ma cooked, too much food, trying to feed months of worry into one meal. They ate and talked and pretended everything was normal. But it wasn't normal. Couldn't be. O'Hara had seen things, done things. He carried them. Danny understood. Late that night, after their parents slept, the brothers sat on the back porch, drinking beer, quiet. Does it go away? Danny asked. The dreams, the memories? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. I see it sometimes. The waist section, the blood, the fighters coming in, you crawling to me. I see the tail position, the fighters, the tracers, the men I killed. They sat in silence, each alone with his ghosts. Was it worth it? Danny asked. The war, the missions, everything we saw. O'Hara thought about the question, about Nazi Germany, about the death camps they'd heard about the evil that had to be stopped. Yeah, it was worth it. Doesn't make it easier, but it was necessary. Someone had to do it. And we did. And we did. The war in Europe ended in May 1945. O'Hara was stateside by then, training new gunners, teaching them what he'd learned, how to survive, how to shoot, how to function when everything was chaos. Some learned, some didn't. O'Hara did his best, hoped it was enough. He stayed in until 1946, mustered out with honors, returned to Brooklyn, to civilian life. He worked construction, married in 1948, a good woman named Margaret who didn't ask too many questions about the war, who understood silence, who gave him space to heal. They had 3 children, 2 boys and a girl. O'Hara never told them war stories, never glorified combat. When they asked what he did in the war, he said he was a tail gunner, that he did his job, that he came home. Danny opened a bar in Brooklyn, called it the Lucky Lady after the B-17 that brought them home. It became a gathering place for veterans, men who'd served, who understood, who carried the same memories. O'Hara visited often, sat at the bar, drank beer, talked with other veterans, or didn't talk. Both were okay. Martinez visited once in 1952, drove up from Texas. They hadn't seen each other in 6 years. They sat at Danny's bar, drank, remembered. You ever think about it? Martinez asked. The missions, the fights? Every day, O'Hara said. You? Yeah, every day. Does it get easier? No, but you learn to live with it. They drank in silence. comfortable. Two men who'd shared something most people couldn't understand. Morrison died in 1967, heart attack. O'Hara went to the funeral, met other crew members, older now, gray, but present. They stood by the grave and remembered, not with words, just presence. The crew reunions happened every 5 years, fewer men, each time, age and illness claiming what German fighters couldn't, but those who could attend did, because some bonds don't break. O'Hara retired in 1985, spent his days with Margaret, with his children and grandchildren, lived quietly. He died in 1998 at age 76, peacefully, in his sleep. At his funeral, his children found his silver star, found his flight logs, found photos of him in uniform, standing beside B-17s, young, serious, a warrior. They'd never known, never understood. He'd kept it private, locked away. Danny spoke at the service, old now, 83, still walking with that cane. My brother was a tail gunner, the loneliest position on a bomber, the most dangerous. He flew 25 missions, shot down 12 fighters, was wounded multiple times, kept fighting even when his guns were empty. He paused, composed himself. But that's not why I'm proud of him. I'm proud because he did his job, because he protected his crew, because he came home, and because after coming home he built a good life, raised a good family, lived with honor. Danny's voice broke. He was my brother, my protector, and I miss him. The legacy of Mike O'Hara isn't in history books, isn't in grand monuments. It's in the crew members who survived because one tail gunner refused to quit, in the brother who lived because Mike covered him with his own body, in the children and grandchildren who exist because their father and grandfather made it home. Tail gunners had the worst survival rate in the Army Air Force, isolated, exposed. First target for enemy fighters, Mike O'Hara survived, not through luck, through skill and determination and absolute refusal to let his crew down. 12 fighters destroyed, 25 missions completed, one brother saved, one crew protected, one life lived well after the war ended. That's the measure of a warrior, not just survival, but what you do with that survival, how you honor those who didn't make it, how you build something good from the darkness. Mike O'Hara understood that, lived it, proved it, in the loneliest position on the bomber, at the edge of the aircraft, between the crew and everything that wanted to kill them. He stood his ground, fired his guns, protected his brothers, and when the war ended, he came home and showed that courage isn't just about combat, it's about building a life, raising a family, living with honor. That's the legacy, that's what matters. Not the medal, not the kills, but the life lived, the family raised, the quiet dignity of a warrior who did his job and never asked for recognition. 76 years, good life, good man, tail gunner, brother, protector. That's enough. That's everything.